Hi, this is Gwen. Today is Sunday, November the 12th, and it's about 9:38 p.m. It's November 12th, 2017. What I'm going to do is talk about the book that I'm reading, This Black. And the reason why I'm recording now because I was going to wait till I finished it, but I couldn't wait. I'm having such a good time reading this book. So I'm gonna do an interim review right now, and then when I finish it, I guess, write another review. I bought it back in, I think, September, October, but I've been in and out of it because, well, I've been having so much fun reading it that I would go back and read stuff, and then get sidetracked about something else, and then go back and read stuff again. So I'm it's taking me a while to read it because I keep going back and savoring things that are just read. So I made some notes here. If you look at a previous recording that I just made a few minutes ago, it's going to be talking about I spoke on writing styles because I think that the goddess invented a new writing style because she had that much confidence, and audacity to do that. And I read it and I look at it and say, I cannot believe she did that. No, she didn't. And then I go back and read it again and read it again. And that's why it's taken me a long time to read her book because I'm going back and reading stuff over and over again. I get caught up in the sentence structure and looking at the wonders, because it's that good. It is that good. So I keep going back and looking at that and looking at this. And so I'm pitiful. And then I have to go back and read the storyline and pick up on the storyline again. So it's taken me a while. I think I bought the book back in, let me see, I think probably about like October or September. And then I jump around and read another book. So I might have two or three books going at once. But I just couldn't wait to put this out there. So first off, let me talk about my background in reading. I've been reading a lot since I was a little girl. So my family likes to read, so we, like as kids, read every book in our local library in the children's section. Then we expanded out to the rest of the library, read all of those books. Then we went downtown to the main library, read all the books in their children's section, and then branched out to the rest of the library, all over the library. And so that's been my pattern all my life. Every city I go to, I immediately get a library card. Now that they have ebooks, I don't need to do that so much. But that's my lifestyle. That's what I did. We read, even the worst of us read a lot. I'm talking about the ones that go in jail every week, every month, always in jail. They still read. So I read all my life. Now, those books that I talked about on the previous little video where I just showed screenshots of three different books. I showed the book called Black, and then I showed a book by A. Aguirre and another book by Lilith St. Croix. I'm going to talk about the writing style first because it's ingenious and it's a twist on it. These other books do the same thing, but they don't do it with the same infusion of words. It's all books that I read are wonderful. Well, a lot of books that I read are wonderful books, and I can jump from style to style. Some books are written real simply and straightforward. They have simple, straightforward sentences. It's one statement, no comma, nothing. No dashes, no comma, no colons, no semicolons, nothing. It's like the ball was red and blue and it was beautiful. That was, that kind of sentence, or almost simplified sentences. And I was going to say third grade or first grade level, but no, not really, because some of these are complicated, in-depth sentences, but they're straightforward. Now, the Lila St. Croix book and the A. Aguirre book, I call those, I nicknamed them the books where I call them hold that thought book, because in the beginning of the sentence, it's focus, telling you what they're focusing on and what they're talking about, but then they do about three, four, five commas all through the sentence that enhances that point. Okay? So that's what I call a hold of thought, because you still got to hold that first thought that they're focusing on through the several phrases that support that first thought, okay? Or that first part of the thought. So I call that the hold the thought style. Other books aren't like that. Very few are, but these two that I named, I already read both of those books all the way through, plus read several books in those series. So I'm like on the third series of, I've got the third book in Trailer Park Faye, and I've got the at least another book by A. Aguirre of these two characters. So I already got those books and I've already read them. When I picked up the this book by the, I want to call her by the goddess, and I saw that she was using that style. I immediately enjoyed it because it's a complicated thought, but she takes it to another level because it's an infused style. It's not just making those statements that like those other books do. It's infusing thought, word, and it's putting you in there. I don't know how she's doing that. And I get fascinated by the sentences that I have to keep reading them. And I might have to go all the way back to a whole nother chapter, read it all over again, just to savor and enjoy how she wrote it. And I call it, I'm nicknaming her style 3D writing, three dimensional writing. And I suspect that in the future, when the historians and literary people write about it, they're going to use this as a benchmark. I think it'll be a benchmark because I read a lot and haven't read that quite just that way, because it's not just words. These are words that take you to another level and put you there, not only in the sentence, but inside of the world of words, if you will. And it's hard to describe, and I'm having trouble describing it. So, what I did think of as a way to describe it was use it in visual art terms. Okay, so the first level of visual arts is drawing, which is line drawing. In this case, I'm gonna give you the definitions that I'm gonna be using. People might fluctuate between 1,000 different definitions and merging the genres, but one artist a long, long, long time ago, and I think it was Michelangelo, might have been Leonardo of Venice, which is really, other people might call him Leonardo da Vinci, but his name translates as Leonardo of Venice. And art people scorn at folks that call him Da Vinci. That's just stupid. But Leonardo of Venice, or else Michelangelo, said that the first level of art was drawing, second level painting, third level sculpture, and then architecture was the utmost level of art. And that was the days before printing and before photography. So I'm going to use that scale. And for this scale, I'm going to talk about drawing as line drawing, monochrome between and a interplay between line, light, and shadow. That is, you darken and you lighten using pen strokes or charcoal or chalk, something like that, or even pencil. And it's just a monochrome drawing. Next level is painting, where you're still using your lines and you're still using light and dark, but you're adding color. Hues, your reds, your blues, your greens, all of the hues and color, or whatever they call color nowadays. It's just color, okay? And then sculpture, you're making it three-dimensional. See, the flat surface for a drawing or a painting is two-dimensional. It's up and down and side to side. Up, down, side, side. Those are two dimensions. Up and down is a dimension, side to side is a dimension. But three-dimension is the depth. That is depth from forward and back, okay? So sculpture is another level. in art, forward and back, up and down, side to side. So that's three-dimensional. Architecture was considered by this important artist to be the next level because it's although it's three-dimensional, you can walk inside of it and be a part of it. It's around you. It's not only you looking at it, walking around it, you are also walking around it, but you can walk inside of it. And that was why it was the highest level. Her writing is at that level. Now, the other two artists that I wrote that books that I showed you, and you can look at their sample, and I'm gonna leave their sample on the link here. When I finish it, I'm gonna leave links to their samples, and they're right there on Amazon. And I would suggest you get their books too. But her book, in my mind, takes it to a different level. They're the same kind of sentence structure, but the wording is infused, is creative, is fertile. Okay, it's got the depth in it, and you can walk inside of it, so to speak. Where these you can walk around it. They're still three-dimensional, but you can walk around it. And that's why I'm talking about the sentence structure. The simple sentences are the straightforward sentences, then a little bit more complicated, and then these kind of sentences. So, and the next point I want to make about her book is this. Although her writing is PG so far, I'm like about 25% through it. So this is my interim review. It's PG rated, or it's really G rated. A child could read it, but it's got to be a smart child. An adult can read it, but it's got to be an adult that can keep up with her. This is not a dumbed down book. This lady thinks complicated, and she demands that you step up. And you will, because it's such a good story. You can't help it. There is this one sentence in this book that's become one of my favorite sentences in a book. And let me see if I can find it. It's basically saying that you can cut your finger on the edge of these hedges. And I said it badly. I'm going to see if I can pause this right quick and then see if I can find that sentence because it's a great. Okay, this is one of my all-time favorite sentences in the world of all the books that I've read. And let me see if I can, because I had found it a minute ago. Let me see if I can find it again, because I get caught up in everything else all around it. And I done just had the place. I'm on the page. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm looking. Okay. This is a sentence as this person is talking, I mean, walking down the street, and he says, you could cut your fingers on the edge of those hedges. I know those hedges. I've been by a house like that. I recognize that. I know it. I know the house. I know the grass. I know the person that sits out front there. I know these people. Okay? That is a favorite sentence of mine. It's right up there with a sentence from one of the Charlie Davis sentences book series books, and they're up to number, I think, the 11th grade to the something something. So somewhere between that first and 11th book in that series is a sentence that I really liked, or not a sentence, but a concept I really like. This concept is about her, as she wrote in first person, where she squinted and was trying to wrestle a concept that somebody told her, and they told it like a wrestling match where she tried to get her hands around the concept. It slipped away. She wrestled it again, caught it again, and then it slipped away again, and then it kept going. It essentially said something like that, okay? That to me is hysterical because I pictured this person wrestling with this concept. Um, Another favorite concept of mine would be Terry Pratchett somewhere in this book, and he's talking about this man smelled bad that came into a house, and he said the odor took a life of his own. It was browsing the bookcases and, and stuff like that, and looking at the tea cozy and stuff like that. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that I think are great sentences. Another sentence in this book was just a phrase, and I think she was, and this is the part that's not in the sample, so I'm not gonna try to show that to you. But anyway, she said that the air was so thick you can cut it and eat it, eat it hungrily, something like that. She said, but I pictured this thick infused air that you can cut. Can you picture? Can you see the visuals in that? Isn't that something? So as I read her book, I can't read no more than a few lines at a time because I got to go back and say, I cannot believe she did that. Oh, wow. She wrote that. Wow. But did that work when she did it like that? This is kind of thing I think when I'm reading her work. So I get caught up in the sentence structure and then have to go back and pick up the story because I get lost in how she wrote it. I can't believe the gall, the audacity, the nerve, the confidence to pull that off the way she did. And that's why I couldn't wait to tell you because these few pages I find gold in there that I have to let somebody else know. Okay. So yeah, I think that the historians are probably look at that as a new writing style because it's that infused. Okay, that's all I got so far right now. Let me look at my little notes here. Yeah, I told you my background in reading, talked about how I might jump from book to book, and yeah, she invented a new style. And I can't believe how well it's done. And it's a very good story, an extremely good story. A story that's needed for our times. I don't want to do any spoilers, but it's something that I think we should read. If you ever look at her old videos and you see the black and white book cover, I finally get it. It's sort of explained in this story. I'm so glad to get what that meant. So that's explained and you should know that. But yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's a book that we should read. I think everybody should read, and I appreciate her putting it out there in the world. Big time. Okay, I'm done. Good luck, and thank you for listening to me.